Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to stand before you today to speak on a subject that resonates deeply with all of us. Life in its twists and turns often takes us through seasons of regret, disappointment, and missed opportunities. We've all had moments where we look back and wonder, what if? What if I had acted sooner? What if I had made a different choice? What if I hadn't let fear or doubt hold me back? These questions can weigh heavy on the soul, making us feel as though the years we've lost are beyond recovery. But I am here to tell you today that those wasted years are not the end of the story. You see, time is a divine gift. It flows steadily, unaffected by our mistakes. Yet the one who created time is not bound by it. In the economy of the divine, nothing is ever truly wasted. What we see as loss, God sees as opportunity. What we call failure, He calls preparation. Our wasted years are not merely forgotten, they are redeemed when we align ourselves with His purpose. Many of us spend years wandering through the wilderness of indecision, distraction, or despair. We waste time chasing what does not satisfy, pursuing what does not last, or running from the very thing we are called to face. Yet, even in those years, lessons are being sown into the soil of our lives. Even in the barren seasons, there is a preparation taking place. There is no such thing as wasted time when it is surrendered into the hands of the Creator. Consider the story of the prodigal son. He squandered his inheritance, his youth, his opportunities. By every earthly measure, those were wasted years. But in his return, we see a truth that transcends human understanding. Restoration is not just about regaining what was lost. It's about being repositioned for a greater purpose. The son returned not to servitude, but to sonship. His years of waste became the foundation for his transformation. In the divine economy, restoration is always greater than what was lost. When a seed is planted in the ground, it seems to die, buried, and forgotten. But what emerges is not just the seed, it's an entire harvest. So it is with our lives. What feels like loss, what feels buried, can be transformed into a harvest of purpose, wisdom, and blessing. But there is a principle that must not be ignored. Restoration requires action. It is not a passive process. We must take responsibility for our choices, yes, but we must also take responsibility for our future. There is a call to rise up, to engage, to step into the opportunities that are presented to us now. The past cannot be undone, but the future is still unwritten. And it is in the decisions we make today that restoration begins to unfold. Do not let regret paralyze you. Do not let fear hold you captive. The years you thought were wasted can become the very platform upon which your purpose is revealed. The divine specializes in turning broken pieces into masterpieces. He takes the ashes of our lives and exchanges them for beauty. But we must bring Him the ashes. We must surrender the broken pieces. We must believe that restoration is not only possible, but promised. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a new day. This moment is an invitation. Step out of the shadow of wasted years and into the light of divine restoration. It is not too late, and you are not too far gone. The best is yet to come. The truth about restoration is that it doesn't merely involve recovering what was lost, it involves exceeding what was imagined. When you think of the concept of restoration in its deepest sense, it's not a matter of going back to how things were. It's about stepping into what they were always meant to be. Divine restoration does not take you to the place you fell, it takes you to the place you were destined to rise. Too often we allow the weight of wasted years to define our perception of ourselves. We carry labels from the past, attaching them to our identity. Failure, procrastinator, unworthy. These labels, though false, can feel as if they have been etched into the fabric of our being. But restoration begins with the renewing of the mind. You cannot expect a different future if your thinking is tethered to the chains of the past. Restoration starts when you begin to see yourself as God sees you, not through the lens of your mistakes, but through the clarity of His purpose for you. Consider the metaphor of a masterpiece that has been marred or damaged. In the hands of a master artist, that piece is not discarded. Instead, it is carefully restored, sometimes becoming even more valuable because of the scars it bears. Those scars tell a story. And in the divine narrative, every scar is a testament to grace, every wound a witness to redemption. The years you thought were wasted are being woven into the greater tapestry of your life. And the final picture is far more glorious than the one you envisioned. When we look at the idea of wasted years, we often focus on what we could have done differently, regrets over missed opportunities, failed relationships, or paths not taken. But have you considered that even in those years, something was being planted? Seeds often remain hidden in the soil, out of sight, but they are not inactive. They are germinating, preparing to break forth in the right season. What may appear to you as wasted time might simply have been a season of preparation. Some of the most significant growth occurs in the unseen, in the places where you thought nothing was happening. There is an important principle to grasp restoration. It's not just about what you do, but about what you believe. Faith is the foundation of transformation. If you believe that your best years are behind you, your actions will align with that belief. You will live cautiously, tentatively, afraid to take risks or embrace new opportunities. But when you believe in restoration, when you truly embrace the idea that God can redeem the time, it changes how you live. You begin to see every day as a gift, every opportunity as a chance to build something new. In the scriptures, there's a powerful promise: I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. Think about that for a moment. It doesn't say He will restore what the locusts took. It says He will restore the years. That means the time you thought was wasted, the seasons you thought were lost, can be made fruitful again. It's not just about regaining things, it's about redeeming time. Time is a resource that no one can create, but the divine can multiply its impact. When you align your life with purpose, you enter into a realm where time becomes a servant, not a master. Many people live as though time controls them, as if the clock is ticking against them. But when you step into restoration, you realize that time is on your side because the one who holds time is for you. Your life is not a random series of events. It is a carefully orchestrated journey. Even the detours and delays have a purpose. The question is, will you trust the process? Restoration also requires partnership. God will not do for you what you can do for yourself. You must take steps toward the vision you have been given. If you want to reclaim lost time, you must be intentional with the time you have now. Too often, we wait for everything to align perfectly before we move forward. But perfection is not the goal, progress is. Restoration begins when you decide to act, to step out in faith, even when the way is unclear. The first step may feel small, but it sets in motion a chain of events that leads to transformation. There's another critical aspect to consider: forgiveness. Restoration cannot occur without releasing the past. This includes forgiving others who may have contributed to your wasted years, but even more importantly, forgiving yourself. Many people remain stuck in a cycle of regret because they cannot let go of their own mistakes. They replay the moments they wish they could change, allowing those memories to dictate their future. But forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door to restoration. When you forgive, you free yourself to move forward. Imagine a person carrying a heavy bag of stones. Each stone represents a regret, a mistake, or a missed opportunity. As long as they hold onto that bag, their progress is slowed, their energy drained. But when they choose to lay it down, they are free to run toward their destiny. Restoration requires that you lay down the weight of the past so you can embrace the possibilities of the future. It's important to understand that restoration is not always immediate. We live in a world that values instant results, but divine restoration often unfolds over time. It's a process that requires patience and perseverance. Just as a tree does not bear fruit overnight, the restoration of your life may take time. But do not be discouraged. Every step you take, every decision you make to align yourself with purpose brings you closer to the fulfillment of that promise. Look at the life of Joseph. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned by all accounts, his years were wasted. Yet those very years were the training ground for his destiny. In the end, he was not only restored but elevated to a position where he could save an entire nation. His story is a testament to the fact that no matter how dark the season, no matter how dire the circumstances, restoration is always possible when you remain faithful. And let us not forget that restoration is not only about us. When we are restored, we become instruments of restoration for others. Your story of redemption has the power to inspire, to encourage, and to uplift those who feel lost. The pain you endured, the lessons you learned, and the transformation you experienced are not just for your benefit, they are part of a greater plan to bring hope to others. In every setback, there is a seed of a comeback. In every disappointment, there is a hidden opportunity. The key is to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me, begin to ask, what can I learn from this? How can this be used for my growth and the good of others? When you adopt this mindset, even the most challenging seasons become stepping stones toward restoration. Restoration is a divine promise, but it also requires our participation. It is both a gift and a responsibility. It is a call to rise above the past, to believe in the power of transformation, and to step boldly into the future. Wasted years do not define you. Missed opportunities do not disqualify you. The best is yet to come, and the time to begin is now. As you journey through the process of restoration, one thing becomes evident. It's not just about regaining what was lost, but discovering what you never thought possible. The essence of divine restoration is abundance. It is not a return to where you started, but a leap forward into something new and extraordinary. This truth is difficult to grasp when you're surrounded by the ruins of what was. The human tendency is to measure restoration by what was taken. But divine restoration doesn't merely replace, it multiplies. What comes after the storm is not just the rebuilding of the house, but the establishment of a stronger foundation. Restoration requires a mindset shift. Many people are so focused on what they lost that they fail to recognize the opportunity for transformation. You must ask yourself, am I clinging to what was, or am I open to what could be? The answer to this question determines the trajectory of your restoration. If you remain tethered to the past, you limit the future. But when you release what no longer serves you, you create space for the new thing that is waiting to emerge. This process often involves discomfort. Transformation is rarely convenient. It requires breaking out of old patterns, letting go of familiar but limiting beliefs, and stepping into a space of uncertainty. Growth always demands change, and change can be uncomfortable. But discomfort is a sign that you are moving forward. Just as a seed must break through the soil to reach the surface, your breakthrough may require you to push through resistance. The pain of change is temporary, but the fruit of restoration is eternal. One of the most powerful aspects of restoration is its ability to rewrite the narrative of your life. What was once a story of loss can become a story of triumph. What was once a season of failure can become a testimony of resilience. But rewriting the narrative requires intentionality. You must decide to speak life over your circumstances, to declare that your story is not over, and to believe that the best chapters are yet to be written. Words have power. The way you speak about your situation shapes how you experience it, Speak restoration, speak hope, speak possibility, and watch as your words begin to align with your reality. As you step into the journey of restoration, remember that it is a partnership. Divine intervention meets human intention. There are steps you must take, doors you must knock on, and opportunities you must seize. Faith without action is dead. You cannot sit idly by waiting for restoration to find you. You must pursue it with determination. This pursuit requires courage, for restoration often involves confronting the very things you would rather avoid. It means facing the pain, addressing the mistakes, and reconciling with the past. But in this confrontation there is healing, and in healing there is freedom. Many people misunderstand the nature of restoration, thinking it's a passive process where everything simply falls into place. But restoration is an active journey. It's about rebuilding, refining, and reclaiming. Imagine a craftsman restoring a piece of antique furniture. The process involves stripping away the old, sanding down the rough edges, and applying a fresh finish. Each step is deliberate, each action intentional. So it is with the restoration of your life. It requires effort. But the result is something of greater value than before. One of the most profound truths about restoration is that it doesn't just affect you, it impacts everyone connected to you. When you are restored, your family, your community, and even the world around you benefit. Your restoration becomes a ripple effect, touching lives in ways you may never fully understand. Your journey of transformation can inspire someone else to believe in the possibility of their own. In this way, restoration is not just personal, it is communal. It is a gift that multiplies as it is shared. It's also essential to recognize the timing of restoration. Sometimes we grow impatient, wanting everything to be resolved immediately. But restoration often follows a divine timeline that may not align with our expectations. Trust the process. There is wisdom in the waiting. Every delay has a purpose, every pause a lesson. The time it takes to restore something deeply often correlates to its value. Do not rush the process. Embrace it, knowing that the end result will be worth the journey. As you walk through this process, you will find that restoration is as much about internal transformation as it is about external change. It's not just about recovering what was lost, but becoming someone new in the process. The person who emerges on the other side of restoration is wiser, stronger, and more resilient. The journey shapes you in ways that prepare you for what lies ahead. What you thought was the end was merely the preparation for a new beginning. There is also a spiritual dimension to restoration that cannot be overlooked. True restoration comes from aligning yourself with divine purpose. When you live in alignment with your calling, restoration flows naturally. It's like a river finding its course. The obstacles that once seemed insurmountable begin to move, and the path becomes clear. Alignment brings clarity, and clarity brings progress. If you want to experience restoration, seek alignment with the purpose for which you were created. As you continue on this path, you may encounter resistance. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when the weight of the journey feels too heavy to bear. In those moments, remember that restoration is not about perfection, it's about perseverance. Keep moving forward, even if the steps are small. Progress is progress, no matter how slow. Every step you take brings you closer to the fulfillment of the promise. Restoration also requires gratitude. It's easy to focus on what you've lost, but restoration begins when you start to appreciate what you still have. Gratitude shifts your perspective from lack to abundance, from despair to hope. It opens your eyes to the possibilities around you and fuels your determination to move forward. When you cultivate gratitude, you create an environment where restoration can thrive. Restoration is not just about the destination, it's about the journey. Every step of the process is meaningful. Every lesson learned, every challenge overcome, and every moment of growth contributes to the tapestry of your restoration. Embrace the journey, knowing that every twist and turn is part of a greater plan. Your story is still being written, and the best chapters are yet to come. Keep walking, keep believing, and keep pressing forward. Restoration is not just a promise, it's a process, and you are in the midst of it. Restoration often comes wrapped in unexpected challenges. It's easy to hope for a straight and smooth path where everything simply falls into place without much effort. But true restoration does not avoid the hard places, it moves through them. It requires the willingness to face what feels broken, to confront what you would rather leave buried, and to find the courage to rebuild. These challenges are not meant to defeat you, but to prepare you. They stretch your capacity, refine your character, and build the resilience needed to sustain the restoration you're seeking. Every struggle contains within it the seeds of growth. Many people hesitate to embark on the journey of restoration because they fear they are unworthy. They carry the weight of guilt, shame, and regret, believing they don't deserve a second chance. But worthiness is not something you earn, it is something you are given. You were created with purpose and value, and no mistake, no failure, no wasted year can take that away. Restoration is not about earning back what was lost. It is about receiving the gift of a renewed life and stepping boldly into it. At times, restoration requires pruning. Pruning is the process of removing what no longer serves you, even if it's something you once thought you needed. This can be painful. It may mean letting go of relationships that hinder your growth, habits that limit your potential, or beliefs that keep you stuck. But pruning is not about loss, it is about creating space for new growth. A tree that is pruned may look barren for a season, but it will bear more fruit in the long run. The same is true for your life. What you let go of today makes room for the abundance of tomorrow. Restoration also demands a vision. Without a clear sense of where you're going, it's easy to become discouraged or distracted. Vision is what keeps you focused, what helps you press on when the journey feels long. It's not just about imagining a better future, it's about believing it is possible and taking steps toward it. Vision gives purpose to your efforts and meaning to your struggles. It reminds you that the work you're doing is not in vain, that every small step is bringing you closer to the life you're meant to live. Faith plays a critical role in restoration. It is the fuel that keeps you moving when the road is unclear. Faith is not simply hoping for a better outcome, it is trusting in the process and the promises of restoration. It is believing that what is broken can be healed, that what is lost can be found, and that what seems impossible can become reality. Faith does not ignore the challenges, it acknowledges them but refuses to be defined by them. It looks beyond the present circumstances and sees the possibilities that lie ahead. Another important aspect of restoration is embracing responsibility. While divine grace is an essential part of the process, restoration also requires your active participation. It's about taking ownership of your choices, your actions, and your future. It's easy to blame circumstances, other people, or even yourself for the wasted years. But blame keeps you stuck. Responsibility sets you free. It allows you to control what you can change and release what you cannot. Responsibility is not about dwelling on the past. It's about deciding how you will move forward. There's a profound beauty in the fact that restoration doesn't erase the past, it transforms it. The scars you carry, the lessons you've learned, and the challenges you've faced all become part of your story. They don't define you, but they shape you. They give you depth, strength, and compassion. Restoration doesn't pretend the past didn't happen, it redeems it. It turns what was meant for harm into something good, something purposeful. Your past becomes the soil from which your future grows. The process of restoration also teaches patience. In a world that values instant results, waiting can feel like failure. But restoration often unfolds gradually, in layers and stages. It's not always a dramatic transformation. Sometimes it's a series of small, steady changes that add up over time. Patience allows you to trust the timing, to stay the course even when progress feels slow. It reminds you that growth is happening beneath the surface, even if you can't see it yet. Patience is not passive, it's an active choice to remain committed to the process. One of the greatest gifts of restoration is the sense of hope it brings. Hope is more than wishful thinking, it's a confident expectation that better days are ahead. Hope gives you the strength to persevere, the courage to dream, and the motivation to keep going. It's what allows you to see opportunities instead of obstacles, possibilities instead of problems. Hope is a powerful force, and restoration renews it within you. It reminds you that no matter how dark the night, the dawn will come. As you journey through restoration, you'll find that gratitude becomes a natural response. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, from what you've lost to what you've gained. It opens your eyes to the beauty of the process and the blessings along the way. Gratitude is not just an emotion, it's a practice. It's a way of seeing the world that transforms even the most challenging circumstances into opportunities for growth. When you choose gratitude, you create an environment where restoration can flourish. Restoration also involves community. No one walks this journey alone. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, support you, and hold you accountable. Community provides strength in moments of weakness, perspective in times of doubt, and celebration in seasons of victory. It reminds you that you are not alone, that your journey matters, and that your restoration impacts more than just yourself. Lean into the relationships that lift you up and be willing to be that source of support for others as well. Restoration is a journey of becoming. It's about stepping into the fullness of who you were created to be. It's about embracing the truth that your value is not determined by your past, but by your purpose. Restoration is not just about fixing what's broken, it's about discovering the beauty, strength, and potential that were always within you. It's a journey worth taking, and it begins with a single step. Every moment, every decision, and every effort moves you closer to the life you're meant to live. Trust the process, embrace the journey, and know that restoration is not just possible, it is certain. Restoration is not just about reclaiming what was lost, but about transcending it. To truly grasp this, we must understand that life operates not in straight lines, but in cycles. Seasons of loss are not endpoints, they are transitions. Every apparent end holds within it the seed of a new beginning. When you view your wasted years as mere chapters in a larger narrative, you see they were not wasted at all, they were preparation. They were the groundwork for something greater, something that could not have been achieved without the lessons, the growth, and even the pain that came with those years. Think of the refining process of gold. The raw material is unremarkable at first glance, but under intense heat, impurities are burned away, revealing its brilliance. The fire is not punishment, it is preparation. In the same way, the seasons that seem wasted, the years that feel lost, are often the crucible where purpose is forged. These moments refine you, strip away what is unnecessary, and prepare you to emerge stronger, clearer, and more valuable than ever. A significant part of restoration is learning to recognize the opportunities hidden within challenges. It is human nature to focus on the negative, to see only the difficulties and losses. But what if the very things you see as obstacles are actually opportunities in disguise? The failures, delays, and setbacks you've experienced may be the fertile ground where your greatest successes will grow. Restoration requires a shift in perspective, a willingness to see possibility where others see despair. It is about developing the vision to see what could be rather than being stuck in what is. As you step into this journey, you must confront the tendency to compare yourself to others. Comparison is one of the greatest thieves of restoration. It robs you of your focus, your confidence, and your unique path. You may look at someone else's life and feel they are far ahead of you, that their time was better spent, their choice is wiser. But restoration is not a competition. It is a deeply personal process that unfolds in its own time and way. You are not meant to follow someone else's timeline or replicate their results. Your restoration is uniquely yours, shaped by your journey, your experiences, and your purpose. The wasted years you perceive are not a reflection of your value or potential. They are simply a reminder that life does not always follow the path we expect. And that is a good thing. Sometimes the detours we take lead us to destinations we never could have imagined. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually divine timing, positioning you for opportunities you couldn't have accessed earlier. Restoration embraces this truth that nothing is wasted in the hands of the Creator. Every moment, every mistake, every missed opportunity can be repurposed for good. One of the most liberating truths about restoration is that it does not depend on perfect conditions. You don't have to wait for everything to align before you begin. Start where you are with what you have. Take small steps forward even if the path is unclear. Restoration is not about grand gestures or dramatic transformations. It's about consistent progress. Each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the fulfillment of your purpose. At the heart of restoration is the power of choice. Every day you are faced with decisions that either move you closer to restoration or further away from it. Will you choose to dwell on the past, or will you focus on the possibilities of the future? Will you choose to nurture bitterness, or will you embrace forgiveness? Will you choose to stay in your comfort zone, or will you take the risk of growth? These choices, though seemingly small, compound over time. They shape the direction of your life and the outcome of your restoration. Forgiveness plays an integral role in this journey. Without it, restoration cannot fully occur. Forgiveness is not about condoning what was done or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about releasing the hold the past has on you. It's about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment and allowing yourself to move forward unburdened. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a key that unlocks the door to healing and renewal. Restoration also demands courage. It takes courage to face the broken places in your life, to acknowledge the pain, and to confront the areas where you've fallen short. It takes courage to hope again after disappointment, to trust again after betrayal, to dream again after failure. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to move forward despite it. Every act of courage, no matter how small, strengthens your resolve and brings you closer to the restoration you seek. In the process of restoration, you will also discover the importance of vision. Vision is what gives direction to your efforts. It's not just about imagining a better future, it's about believing in it so strongly that you're willing to work toward it, even when the odds seem stacked against you. Vision is the anchor that keeps you steady in the storms, the light that guides you through the darkness. Without it, restoration becomes aimless. But with it, every step, every decision, every action gains meaning and purpose. Gratitude becomes your constant companion on this journey. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, from what was lost to what remains. It transforms your perspective, helping you see even the smallest blessings as evidence of restoration at work. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a discipline, a way of seeing the world that opens your heart to joy and your mind to possibility. When you practice gratitude, you align yourself with the flow of restoration, creating space for even greater blessings to come. As you walk this path, you will realize that restoration is not just about the individual. It's about the collective. Your restoration is not only for your benefit, but for the benefit of those around you. When you are restored, you bring hope, healing, and inspiration to others. Your journey becomes a testimony, a source of encouragement for those who feel lost or broken. In this way, restoration creates a ripple effect, touching lives far beyond your own. It is important to remember that restoration is a journey, not a destination. It is an ongoing process of growth, healing, and transformation. There will be moments of triumph and moments of struggle, times when progress feels rapid and times when it feels slow. But every step is significant. Every effort matters. The journey itself is part of the restoration. It is where you learn, where you grow, and where you become the person you were always meant to be. In this journey, patience is essential. In a world that values quick fixes and instant results, restoration often takes time. It is a process that unfolds gradually, allowing you to build a foundation that will last. Patience reminds you that growth is happening even when it's not immediately visible. It teaches you to trust the process, to stay committed, and to believe that the outcome will be worth the wait. Restoration is a divine promise, but it is also a personal responsibility. It is both a gift and a calling. It invites you to step into the fullness of who you are, to embrace the possibilities of what could be, and to trust in the power of what is being worked out on your behalf. The wasted years are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of something new, something extraordinary, something that will exceed your expectations. Restoration is not just about reclaiming the past. It's about stepping boldly into the future, knowing that the best is yet to come. The journey of restoration is not simply about regaining what was lost. It is about embracing the transformation that makes you stronger, wiser, and more purposeful than ever before. It is a declaration that no season of life, no failure, and no pain is wasted. Restoration is the proof that every broken piece can be repurposed into a masterpiece, that every setback is a setup for a greater comeback, and that your story is far from over. This process calls for courage, faith, and action. It requires you to see beyond the rubble of the past and fix your eyes on the possibilities of the future. It asks you to trust that even in the silence, even in the waiting, the work of restoration is already in motion. Remember, restoration is not limited by time or circumstances. It is fueled by the infinite power of divine grace and the unyielding determination of a heart willing to rise again. Let this be your resolve to never define yourself by the years that felt wasted, but to see them as the foundation for what is being built. Let this be your declaration that you will not settle for mediocrity, but will step boldly into the fullness of what you are meant to be. Let this be your truth that restoration is not just a possibility, it is your promise. It is yours to claim, yours to pursue, and yours to live. The best is not behind you, it is ahead of you. Step into it with faith, with strength, and with unshakable hope. Your greatest days are still to come.